It has been a gorgeous couple of weekends, and Deb and I and the girls were doing a lot of spring cleaning, cleaning up the backyard, cleaning up the shed, and all of a sudden, we noticed something was very different in our backyard in Wellandport. The usual stuff to clean up, the walnuts from the season, pine cones lying everywhere, but there was a little furrow in the ground, and it went from one side of the pool shed underneath and popped out in a massive hole on the other side. And we heard a noise like that. And then I turn around. And Deb turns around. And sitting there, out of his hole, brown little fuzzy, doing his little dance. He said, oh my God. That's right. Theme from Caddyshack, I got me a groundhog. Of all the things, excited about the spring, getting the pool open, and now I've got a groundhog to contend with. So I rented Caddyshack to try to figure out I'm going to call up my inner Bill Murray here to get this thing out of there. And here's the dilemma. So we've had groundhogs before. We're kind of out in the country in Wellandport. We've got a decent property, some forest in the background, but I had Tavish. I had a beautiful dog named Tavish. He was a Nova Scotia duck-tolling retriever, Canadian breed, medium-sized retriever. Chased everything. Sadly, he died this Christmas. And he always kept the groundhogs at bay. So you'd see them, and then they'd be gone. And Tavish would just chase away. Tavish is gone. The groundhogs are back. They've invaded my backyard. So I need your help on the Bell Talk Radio Network. How do I get the groundhog out? Do I make him an ex-groundhog? What are my options? Let me know what you think. You have any tips? 877-518-5151 or text me at 71010. So I'm watching Caddyshack, and I looked up, and TSC has something that they call the Revenge Rodent Smoke Bomb. So I said, let's watch Caddyshack. Did Bill Murray have something to say about this?
I have to laugh. Because I've outfinessed myself. My foe, my enemy, is an animal. And in order to conquer him, I have to think like an animal, and whenever possible, to look like one.
So do I go to TSC and I get one of these Revenge Rodent Smoke Bombs? Some of the comments said they actually don't work on the groundhogs. They just get angrier and burrow more holes. There's another one at Home Hardware called the Giant Destroyer. Sounds like a firework. That might be fun, or is it cruel? And here's the other dilemma I face. Maitland and Miller, they think he's really cute. They would cry if the groundhog, they look forward, they look out the window. Where's the groundhog? There's a groundhog. Daddy, let's chase a groundhog. I got a caller named Gary from Etobicoke. Gary, you've got a suggestion for me. I think Gary says that he's got traps. Let's see what Gary has to say.
Yeah, you get an animal trap that's large enough to trap a groundhog.
Yeah? Where do I get one of those, Gary?
You have one of those?
I've got a squirrel one. Is that going to count?
Not big enough, probably.
All right. Where do I get a good-sized groundhog trap?
Canadian Tire used to have them.
Yeah.
It'll set you back about $80, I think. Home Depot may have them.
Yeah.
If you can't, you can get them online. But anyway, use apples as bait. They love apples. There are no apple trees around this time of year for them to eat apples off the ground, so they will go into the trap to eat the apples. Then you take them far, far away. Some people use a more final solution, but if you don't want to do that, you can take them far, far away where they can't come back.
And where do you live, Gary?
South Etobicoke.
All right, I'll take it to Etobicoke. Thanks for the suggestion.
You're welcome. Okay.
Here's some text here. Timmy, what? That's another Timmy. That's what, from Dunnville, of course. That's what 22s are for. Shocked that person's from Dunnville. Rented Caddyshack. Who rents in 2016? Hashtag go back to 1994. Okay, that's funny. I actually cheated. I went to YouTube and I watched the videos and I'm playing up here. But you're right. I said rented. London, don't call a union employee. They will multiply the groundhogs and then blame management. Here's one. I'll talk to Debbie about this one from Toronto. Get another dog. Another guy from Toronto. I shoot my groundhogs and stuff the carcass in the hole where they came from to scare the others away. That's getting quite a listening audience on a Sunday afternoon. All right. So there are some of the options. Here's one. Put pinwheels in your yard and Epsom salt sprinkled around. Groundhogs are timid. I had one last year, followed this advice, never saw it again. Deb from Port Perry. Deb, that's because your groundhog went from Port Perry to Wellandport, and now I got to deal with him. I actually brought an expert in because I like the sound of this business. It's called Skedaddle. Skedaddle. Bill Dowd is the owner of Skedaddle. They have branches throughout the province of Ontario. He's coming from Ancaster to help me out and help our audience out. Bill, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Skedaddle. Oh, he's got his Skedaddle thing on. If you're watching on TV, a cute little, because we all know raccoons are cute. He's got a cute little raccoon logo on it. Bill, you're sitting here listening. You're laughing your head off at our interventions and my suggestions. Among all those things that you heard, who got it right?
I would say they're very creative, but none of them are really going to be a long-term solution for you.
Okay. So this is the train. Before I'll keep all of us in a little suspense, including me. Before I get to the groundhog ultimate solution, I want to ask you, how the heck do you get into the animal relocation business? Or what's your profession actually called?
Humane wildlife remover.
That's a nice way to say it. Humane wildlife remover.
Exactly.
So where do you go to school to become a humane wildlife remover?
Well, anyone who enjoys working outside, enjoys working with the public, doesn't mind climbing ladders, crawling around itchy insulation.
Yeah.
If you have a good attitude, we're looking for people to come in and either be a franchisee or work for us who want to learn.
Now, we are broadcast on the Bell Talk Radio Network across the Toronto audience and Ottawa audience. So I bet there are a few people listening right now that have squirrels, raccoon problems. So they can contact Skedaddle, or you said they can do a franchise.
Right. We're offering franchises throughout Canada. We have 25 locations currently, always looking to expand, but it's a fun business. You're dealing with animals.
Go to Humane Wildlife Removal College?
College, that's with us. We'll train you everything. We'll teach you how to do it. Whether you're an employee, a franchisee, we're going to give you the tools to make you successful. Whether you're an employee for us or looking to be on business for yourself, wearing our Skedaddle
All right,
brand.
so how did you start out? What was sort of the first animal that you trapped?
Trapping is something we don't do.
Oh, my mistake. Didn't mean to trick one. The first animal that you humanely wildlife removed.
It was actually in St. Catharines, and it was a skunk living underneath somebody's front step. So we're getting inundated with calls, not just for groundhogs, raccoons, squirrels, skunks, birds, bats. We're right in the middle of baby season right now.
I'm picturing you like Ghostbusters. You're all there in your lime green Skedaddle raccoon logoed uniform. A call comes in. It's Hudak. Would you rather have me say I've got a groundhog or a skunk? Which one's better news for you?
Probably a skunk. They're a little more easier to work with, so to speak, because they won't dig down to get back underneath the structure as a groundhog would.
What about the spray? You sort of sneak up behind?
Well, you got to be very careful. And once again, tricks of the trade, 27 years in business. Okay. We'll be careful. We'll be cautious because, we don't want to be smelling that either.
So I wouldn't want a skunk to be my first call. All right, so I've got the groundhog. I described it. It's under my pool shed, so that's where the water intake and outflow occurs. It's concrete base. My daughters want me to keep them because we don't have a dog, so this is our closest thing to a pet. Is that a good idea?
Well, they can start excavating underneath that shed and cause some foundation shifting and structural damage. So you really don't want an animal living underneath your structure or in your attic or in your chimney.
All right. A texter just put in from Oshawa. I tried filling holes with mothballs, and it worked, I thought, until a few days later, I saw they actually took all the mothballs and threw them out. Steel wool was their answer. All right, what's the trained professional say is the best way to make this an ex-groundhog hole?
Is to remove the animal humanely.
Yeah. But how do you do that?
Well, if we can get underneath that structure, we will, and we'll actually crawl under there and physically chase him out, poke him with long poles. If we can get a net on him, whatever we can do to physically remove him from that structure. And then the long term and the solution once and for all is to animal-proof the structure by digging a trench and putting a heavy gauge screening down into the ground and out so they can't dig in.
Okay. Yeah. So what, in terms of all of your experience in wildlife removal, tell me the most bizarre animal you've ever had to remove.
Most bizarre were 3 Japanese snow monkeys.
Really? I don't have any snow monkeys on my property.
No, they're close to your home. We caught them in St. Catharines back in 1990. They escaped from somebody's private zoo. One of the young monkeys was a male, and he was starting to show his dominance as he was getting older.
What does that mean? He was showing his dominance.
Well, he was kind of coming up to people because it was more of a, children and starting attacking them. It's actually the Ministry of Health that called us in to capture them because they carry hepatitis, HIV, a lot of nasty communicable diseases.
And how
to
big
us.
is a fully grown male snow monkey?
About 4 feet.
No way.
On all fours, yeah. So they're from Japan. They love the mountains,
right?
The snow. And they love eating fruit. So being in the Niagara fruit belt and in the Canadian winter, it was paradise.
They're
for
multiplying.
them.
And how'd you get rid of the snow monkey?
Well, we actually used there's an elderly gentleman who was a farmer, and he would feed them.
Right.
He'd go to the Buffalo Zoo, get primate food, and we used him as bait to catch the mum, and then we used mum as bait to kind of catch the young ones, and then we took them to a private
Clever.
zoo.
So there you know. That's why you listen to the Bell Talk Radio Network. You have any snow monkey problems? You heard here how to take care of it. Bill Dowd from Skedaddle. Look him up. You have any problems? Thanks for being here, Bill, and making the trip in. Folks, thank you so much for listening in to the show here today. It is now time for dinner with Miller and Maitland. You've been listening to the Bell Talk Radio Network. You can find me at timhudak.ca. Twitter, Tim Hudak. We'll see you next week.